Hey, how's everybody doing? Uh, I'm not expecting a lot of people to be popping in on here because we're at only 6 subscribers, but we ended up losing one. Oh, we were at 7, lost one, now we're back to 6. But I want to start off and say I hope that you guys had a great Christmas and Happy New Year's. And I hope 2026 has started out good for you guys. And I hope it continues to be great for you guys. But like the title of this live says, it's a live update on what's going on with the off-grid house build in the island. Uh, so I had to look real quick before going live on here. The last video posted was September 23rd, 2025. And we haven't posted anything since because we had, we're in a financial struggle for a while. And so the videos, so the build had to stop on that. So that meant the videos had stopped. And there was some drama in the island regarding or involved around my sister-in-law and her husband towards my wife and I. So, so we had to take care of the financial stuff to where we could continue. Then with the drama stuff in the island, it kind of, it's put us in a phase of should we just sell the property on the island, buy something in the mainland, and do something in the mainland because we just don't want to deal with the drama and bull crap in the island. We just want to have a peace of mind. Not worrying about people breaking into our house when we're not in the island and stealing stuff because there are people out there in the island that are like that just have the sticky fingers. Because you know they see that my wife is married to an American. They think I have the pockets of Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Jeff Bezos, which is not the freaking case at all. I'm a disabled veteran, so we're living off of compensation. But, you know, people think it's okay for them to steal from us because I'm a foreigner. And and people act like their life is harder and more of a struggle. Do we live a more comfortable life than those in the island? Yes. But, is it okay to break into people's homes and steal stuff? No. And we got a neighbor that feels that he has obligation or has the right to our property, so he's been cutting the fence and still using our property after we told him that he needed to get his animals off. So there's just like endless drama regarding people out there towards us, which we don't want to deal with. You know, but I'm only saying this because I want to have transparency with you guys. Because why the videos aren't coming. But anyways, right after Christmas, right before New Year's, we had somebody from the island. He's the guy that's in charge of looking after our cows in the mountains, and he's in charge of our house build. And his wife is basically, you know, she's in charge of the guys, making sure that they're not slacking off and doing, you know, so she's the boss of the boss. Okay, so she's like the boss of the yeah. So she's the boss of the boss of the guy, because her husband is the guy that we said, hey, we want you to be in charge of this, now his wife is in charge of char- in charge of the person of the guy in charge of the people building the house for us. But anyways, we ended up, we had him had this guy here for well, Brian is his name, but we had Brian here for about 2 weeks, you know, and he was like the last Make-A-Wish person from the island that wanted to come to the Metro Manila area. So he came here. We had Christmas gifts for him. And he got and shooting off fireworks on New Year's Eve night, and just having a good time with them. Then he went back to the island. We had to get my wife and our son and our family driver. Uh, they ended up going up to Gigaraw, and they went to Gigaraw because they were going to take them to Upari, take the ferry back to the island because regular boats aren't allowed. Weren't the last time that like a regular boat tried leaving the island, Brian was on that boat and it almost tipped over, but somebody from that boat fell overboard and the body was never found. So they had to return back to Dalam in the island, and this was right before Christmas. I think it was like a day or two before Christmas. But the guy that went overboard was a worker for a congressman, and and Brian was afraid to get on the boat to come, but I think it was like December 27th he finally got here. But anyways, I got a little sidetracked there. But anyways, they they went from Metro Manila to Gigaraw, stayed in a hotel overnight. They found out the ferry wasn't leaving the day that it was supposed to from Apari to the island because they were waiting for some team. So, Brian was going to go stay with some relatives in Cloveria, which is the port that we normally go out of when we go to the island. And, and it was like an hour and 45-minute drive from to Gigaraw to Cloveria. And they almost made it to Cloveria, and they found out that the boat was in fact leaving the next day for the island. So they had to turn around and go back. They were like already like an hour, like they were like a little over an hour and a half into the trip, and almost to Cloveria. They had to turn around, and go all the way back to Apri so that they could get everything for Brian unloaded. They get put onto the ferry. They go back to the boat, or they go back to the island. And my wife ended up getting the number for a guy that owns the hardware store in Cloveria where we bought the cement and rebar from. And the guy was on vacation, so my wife called the guy, said, "Hey, this is how many sacks of concrete we need. This is how much rebar we need." And we dumped a good amount of money into that, a little over $1,000 worth of cement and rebar. And so, anyways, a couple of days, or like about 3 days ago, there was supposed to be a boat that was leaving from the island to go into Cloveria, but it couldn't because of the weather. But we do have more rebar ordered, and we already got more concrete ordered. We were supposed to get like 100 sacks of concrete, but we ended up getting 84 sacks, which is still going to be a good amount. But from what I understand, with everything that we got, some of the bags are going to be used to make hollow blocks to finish up the kitchen area of the house. And so that'll get the kitchen area done. They'll do like a plaster thing. They get the walls smooth like this on the inside, and they'll be able to get like a section of flooring down, which I'm guessing they'll probably be like the flooring for the kitchen area. But we're gonna have to put money aside to where we can get like more bags of cement and rebar for the rest of the flooring to be done throughout the house, you know, so that we can have that all done. You know, my wife inquired about the roofing material, kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like a hybrid between like a plastic sheet metal type roofing, but it lasts a lot longer than metal does, and it's not as flimsy and breakable, easy to break it as like the fiberglass material. But from what my wife had found out, the material for the roof, it's like made to order. So, you know, and we got to put like down like 30% of what it's going to be, and it's gonna be like 180,000 pesos. I'm doing a Facebook Live, Mamio. I'm doing Facebook Live or YouTube Live, Mamio. But it's like 180,000 Philippine pesos for the roofing material. Let me do a quick computation here, or PHP to USD. So with the current exchange rate, $3,026.49 in US dollar for the roofing material. So, you know, not cheap by any standard or means. So, you know, that's something that we're gonna have to get save up for. But hopefully the boat operator that's gonna get the cement and rebar will be coming to the mainland soon to get that stuff, so that we can get more videos up. And part of the kitchen's done already, right?
Not yet.
Oh, I thought you said that with the cement they got, it was going to finish up the.
It will.
Okay, so the kitchen hasn't been started, but I guess there's enough stuff to start it, but just not enough to finish it. But they want to have everything done prior to it, so it's not like a half-assed thing, that because they just want to get it done in one go instead of doing it in sections. But hopefully we can see if we can get a video for like an update on what it's looking like right now, just for a refresher to put up on the channel. But anyways, that is it for this live. And you got anything for the live, Mamio?
No, Daddy. All.
Okay, so that is it for this, and we will see you guys in future videos.